just all over the place with this stuff. Got Big E. I believe he has Apex going on too, if I'm not mistaken. Is that him? Oh, it is NEC. That's it. That's it. Apex was another thing with which we were affiliated, I believe, at some point. But that's either way, just so much stuff going on here in the community in Philadelphia, and we're really lucky to bring in the ARMS community, man. It's so cool. That's all you need to know. I'll be there tomorrow to kick butt. You're okay, man. Yo, my man's.
That's right. Well, we got two teammates right here, Slosh and Dart. See what they do with each other this time. It looks to me like they might be going off main character a little bit there. Slosh looks like he might be going Springman, which is probably like a fourth character.
Interesting.
Dart is a Dr. Coil mate.
So, sorry? No, so if I'm not mistaken, Springman is sort of the basis upon which all the characters are judged, more or less. He's kind of the neutral, somewhat like Mario in Smash. So very much a...
oh, he's going Ninjara.
Ninjara and Dr. Coil. Okay, so this ought to be interesting. Obviously...
it's an interesting set there. The dragon, Dart uses the dragon really well as Coil, and the Hydra he doesn't usually use.
The ninja with the nunchuck, that's no surprise, but at the same time the dragon. See, now that's interesting to me because that's one of those status stealing gimmicks, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. Each of these characters, Superior was talking about some of the special abilities. One of the things about Dr. Coil is she grows a third arm, which makes her, a little bit special.
Oh my gosh!
That was quick.
She's going to need to grow another face after that beating. My goodness. It is Ninjara being played by SlosherWailord going up 1-0 on this this first set.
Now, Dart's advantage here, he has his rush, and Ninjara cannot shield rush. He only has a very temporary rush, so Ninjara has to dash around if the rush starts. So.
And there it goes. He does not. Oh my gosh, he suffers a lot of damage. And you're absolutely right. Could not get out of the way in time. A misread by SlosherWailord, and just like that, Dartremix finds himself right back in this thing. I mean, he suffered a lot of damage. That's the sort of thing that swings the momentum of a match,
absolutely,
quite frankly.
It does, and especially if you hit with that dragon. The dragon will do a lot of damage. It's kind of hard to hit with Rush, but once you do, it's a good one.
Certainly paid dividends there, and the question is, how does Slosher adapt? He is getting that nickel and dime damage on Dart. He's slowly pulling his way back into this. It's not an impossible proposition, and that's the commentator's curse for you, as it is Dart who takes the second game in this first set.
Both of them starting with Rush.
So none of them jumping out with it right away. Just kind of feeling each other out, and here comes Ninjara. Oh, well shielded. There's the difference in characters. Oh, gets tagged hard and wastes the rush.
Yeah, you can do that rush cancel. You can poke him at the right moment and knock him right out of it.
Goodness gracious. Now the question is, how does one capitalize on this? Does he have what it takes here? It takes a while to build that back up as well. So that is a huge morale breaker.
Yeah, and Coil builds up Rush really quickly because that third arm contributes to Rush.
Absolutely. It's built up already at half damage. Tagged for 100 damage just on that combination alone. Uh-oh, and that Ninjara with the Rush. Oh, but it's a counter! A huge amount of damage, and just like that, I mean, Dart has been riding his way to victory just on those big amounts of damage.
Yeah.
From that rush alone.
The counter rush with Coil is a really good thing because the camera doesn't track Coil very well. So if you can move to the side, you can counter rush and really make your opponent suffer for that.
Certainly works for Dart there as he takes it 1-0, and Slosher, he'll have to regroup. And yet, Tame Dame, honestly, that is kind of what I was thinking of, those Flex Tape commercials and the Flex Seal. Yeah, absolutely. Shout-outs to JonTron. But SlosherWailord, who looked so dominant in that earlier set.
You know, I think what's going on with these guys, they all know each other, and they're sort of feeling each other out for tomorrow. You know what I mean? And you know, Slosh hasn't used Ninjara in quite a while. He used to use it against Coil, but he's pulling it out to kind of, you know, get a feel for what's going on. And you know, you're seeing Superior doing that with Masango against some people tonight. So, you know, you'll see these guys probably go with their mains tomorrow, I would think.
Kind of keeping their cards close to their chest. Who could blame them? Now, see, this is the sort of course that provides a little something interesting in terms of strategy, because you got those corners that you can hide around.
Yeah, it's a long course, but it does have those corners. And now with Slosh has gone Min, and Min gets this. See how her left arm gets big. It's called the Dragon Arm, and it's permanently charged. So whereas the other arms, when you charge them, one punch and then you have to charge them again. But this stays until you get knocked down.
Goodness gracious, that is one angry bowl of ramen. And that is not a sentence I thought I would say today, folks.
That's right. Oh, another rush pull.
Tagging that Dr. Coil for quite a bit of damage. Now, are you familiar with Dart's Dr. Coil? Is this something that
this
you...
This is his main. Yeah,
he's
a very, very good Coil. He's really good with the Dragon. He does something called the Dragon Cancel Rush, which is a really difficult technical thing, and when he does it, it's unblockable.
Ooh, good shot with the Min.
Now,
and just like that, and that was a nice little tag on the right arm, not used on the not using the tries
he's using the clapback there to try to hold off some of Coil's attacks.
Goodness gracious, it looked like not all of those hit, but still piling on 370 damage. Good stuff, but the rush coming back with Min as well. Not quite as much damage, but still enough time to launch yet another attack, and connecting is Dart. So, is Slosher, excuse me. Well, I mean, Dart is connecting with those punches with his face, so there is something to be said about that. There's definitely such a level of strategy in here. I mean, and it's a different kind of strategy than Smash as well. It's more just a frantic game of chess, more or less. With this, I'm not really sure, I don't know, frantic shogi or something? I'm not sure, but either way, that's some pretty high contact strategic maneuvering. And that Min is going to take it 2-0. Just like that, we are tied 1-1.
Min's a very good character against Coil, so we may see that a little bit more here.
So it's and maybe this is another thing that he's planning out for tomorrow. Yeah. Dart definitely. Could we be seeing a character change here? That's the question. Because obviously he has to have something in his
Dart's secondary is Lollipop, so we may see that. Nope, we don't. Goes right back to Coil.
Going right back to Coil. Maybe wants to save that Lollipop for tomorrow at Summer Jam, perhaps. You don't know. But either way, Dr. Coil and Min.
When he's on with his Coil, though, he's tough. He really, really is.
Taking Min to the mausoleum and hoping to leave her there. We are in Game 3 of this 3-game set. Going with the shield and...
Oh. Dragon comes in
and again with that curved shot, man. It's such a different kind of fighting game too. The thing is like Nintendo was never the type of company to make a traditional shooter, so they made Splatoon and made it squids that go in ink.
Absolutely.
They were never the type of fighters to make never the type of people to make traditional fighters, so they make a platform brawler and then they make robots fighting in arms. It's
when this thing came out, people were thinking this was silly with these arms, and then they kind of got into what this thing does, and it's just a great game.
I'm not gonna lie, it seemed fun at first. I never would have thought that it would involve this sort of complex strategy. Right. And my goodness, these two going at each other's throats just like that. SlosherWailord finds himself one game away from victory against Dart here at the laboratory. What a warm-up this is for the big show tomorrow over in Jersey. Oh, the rush, and this is close up, but he misses. Missing with a lot of those. What went wrong there?
Actually, I think that he missed with his first punch, and Slosh was able to shield. And then it looked like he paused for a second. And sometimes they'll do that because one of the things that some players will do is they'll get too close at the end of their rush, and then if the person is shielded, they'll grab. And Slosh does that a lot, and he's done that to Dart in the past. So I think Dart hesitated a little bit.
Interesting. So,
and now,
can't just throw those punches out there willy-nilly, folks. You do have to aim them, and just like that, Dart is in very real danger of losing this set. Needs to be a bit more calculated. He doesn't miss that time. His aim is true, and he gets Slosher down to less than half of his remaining health.
That's one hit away for Dart, and that'll.
Oh, that is going to do it. SlosherWailord, he takes this 2-2-1.
Yep.
So good stuff by both players, but man, oh man, that was those are some two decisive sets that we saw from SlosherWailord, definitely showing, I mean, timing everything out perfectly in order to grab that victory.
One of the things that you see that's kind of interesting is some players use motion controls and some use the Pro Controller. And with the motion control, they can do a wide grab, and then they have a little wider, scope there. And Slosh is one of the motion users. So that's a good strategy for Min against Coil. A couple of the really good Min-Mins try to do that because Coil is, she floats and she's invisible half the time.
Yeah, we did see that, the sort of transmission that we saw.
My first
kind
thought
of
was
back and forth like Goku there. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
My first thought was, who was drunk at Nintendo when they came up with a character with a third arm and, and invisibility and you can't track her and everything? But these top-level players figured it out,
Yeah, I don't know if that's a rhetorical question or if that could be taken seriously, but regardless, I mean, look, all I'm saying is that someone okayed Bayonetta for Smash, so let's just put it that way. Either way, definitely Dr. Coil really is kind of like the M. Bison of this game. Isn't she? Just kind of one of those characters that's so hard to figure out, but once you do,
She's tough to play at first, too. And so a lot of players, when they're starting out, they're frustrated. You can't figure out, what's going on with this. But these, like Dart, these players who get to that level, man, they can do some complex stuff. They really can.
Yeah, as we saw right there, and again, the timing of their rushes, the way that they utilize their shield, it was incredible stuff to watch, and great effort by both players, but ultimately there can only be one winner. That winner was SlosherWailord.